Every day we try to give them a sense of urgency, and where we're at and how many days it is before we go for real. And slowly and surely they're kind of grasping that. I mean, they're 15, 16, 17-year-old kids. They are and so they don't understand the sense of urgency right now. But they will, and they're getting better at it. And we're practicing at a better pace. We did like Monday was all right. Tuesday was really, really good. Today, is one of them deals where it's hot and you had to fight to endure.
Yeah.
And so that's what we do, and you take it every day. And what I try to tell them is I was like, look, you either get better or worse every day. You never stay the same.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Unwired Appalachia podcast. Very special guest today, Shelby Valley coach Eric Ratliff. Our first time talking to him since he's come back to Shelby Valley. Long time friends of the podcast over the years. Coach Ratliff, just kind of talk about your time at Shelby Valley for this second time, how things are going. I mean, we've probably not even introduced you as head coach yet, but so this is kind of your reintroduction as your second stint at Shelby Valley. How are things going early on, and kind of what are you getting into right now with the spring and you're just taking over the program again?
First of all, just appreciate y'all having us on. And, Randy, you guys here at New Express have been really great to the local teams. And we're just real happy, to get out and to promote our kids and promote our program. And like you said, this is my second stint up there. I was there in 14, 15, and we had some success. And then got into administration, went to Pike Central and was there for 10 years. It's kind of flew by, and coached football and basketball there. Now I'm back, I think, really in my roots, which is as a football coach. And we're just right now trying to get acquainted with each other, the players and me, and learning not a total new system, but it is different, different verbiage, you might say. And so it's just kind of a work out the kinks type time right now. And everybody, it's July, and so you're battling the same things, vacation people, the weather. So we're, I think about where we should be right now. Expectations, is just trying to be competitive and get back to where Shelby Valley was, a few years ago when they were competitive and then had a top 3 or 4 team in each region there.
Yeah, I know last year you kind of went back and helped a little bit, kind of kept things under the radar. So I know you really helped last year a lot on the defensive side, especially early on. Is the defensive a little bit ahead of the offense right now, or kind of where's things like that at? I mean, because you're probably a little bit more familiar with the defense right now than the offense, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I worked a little bit defensively with those guys last year, and I think right now, defense may be a little bit ahead. We've got, I think, 6 or 7 guys back on the defensive side. But, one of the strengths, and we're still looking for it to pay off for us, is our offensive line. We've got 4 out of 5 offensive linemen coming back. We've got our tailback is coming back. So we've got some pieces on both sides. We just got to figure out where to put the other kids at and get a good mesh and get some continuity right now. We're probably looking at playing 15, 16 kids on both sides. And so right now we just got to have some kids step up and grab some spots that are open right now. And eventually we'll figure it out. We got to going to Hazard tomorrow and throwing with them. We'll figure out some secondary stuff there. And then we've got our own 7-on-7 on Friday at Shelby Valley starting at 6. So with those two things, I know you don't get a lot out of 7-on-7 sometimes, but I think you can look at some skill situations, look at some back end of your secondary and figure out some kids where you don't know right now who's going to claim those spots. And I think this is week will be a time where we can kind of settle on maybe getting 2 or 3 deep at those positions.
Yeah, last year, you look at the record and things like that after kind of some of the years before that. They're really successful program, but injuries, some things like that play a part. Just kind of talk about those things. You maybe got some of those young kids, some reps last year that maybe, shouldn't have got as many reps last year. Does that put a few kids ahead of maybe where they should be development wise? Like, maybe some of the freshmen got a little extra reps last year. Now they're a little bit more confident coming back in. Like, what's your take on that from
Yeah,
last year?
our sophomore class is probably our biggest class, and we're gonna play a lot of sophomores. So last year as freshmen, we probably played 4 or 5 freshmen, and they got a good game experience. And this year they're ahead of some of our other kids that didn't get the experience or didn't get the reps and playing time that some of those did. But it was like I said, it was forced in there sometimes with some injuries. Uh, we lost, arguably, one of our better players in our first game, and our schedule didn't help us much last year with the toughness of it early on. We played Ironton, we played a really good Prestonsburg team, we played Letcher Central. That was 3 of our first 4 games, and with that's kind of like walking into a hornet's nest. And we sustained some injuries, and we kind of got over those. And we played real well at the back end, and had a really good chance of winning a couple of games. With the Harlan County game, came down to a last play of the game, and then the playoff game with Knott County was a 1 or 2 possession game. We had a chance to win that. So I thought with those games and the experience they've got, our sophomore class is really going to be a class that's going to lead us, from here on out. But again, you can't overestimate or underestimate the value of our seniors. We're a small senior class. 4 or 5 seniors is all we've got, so we're going to lean heavily on them for leadership and guidance. To our sophomores who've got experience, get more playing time, and are able to fill those spots that we need.
Yeah, a kid you got a few kids that are coming back. Jonah Bartley being one who plays all over the field. He's just very, when you think of him, tenacity. He played some quarterback. He ran the ball. He's been receiver. He plays defense. It seems like you can put him in safety, corner, wherever you want to put him. Just talk about, having some kids like that. You got several. He's just one for example. You got several kids that you can play in different spots. The Blackburn kid, I think, plays a couple different spots. Uh, the running back, I can't remember his name now.
Tanner Maynard.
Tanner Maynard. You got a few guys like that who got a lot of experience, a lot of good experience. Just talk about having some of those key guys like that coming back.
Yeah, with Jonah, I don't think there's a position he can't play. Maybe offensive line. Uh, he's played quarterback, like you said. He played running back for us. He played safety, outside linebacker, and again, we're going to lean heavily on him early as a leader, but not only that, but as a productive player. He's going to get the football in his hands a lot, and he's going to be a guy who's going to make some things happen on the offensive side. And defensively, he gets us lined up. He calls our secondaries, calls and stuff. So he's a valuable player. Tanner Maynard, another kid who he can play defensive line at any spot there. He can play outside linebacker. He can play inside linebacker. And we've even dropped him back at safety. So he's another versatile kid defensively. And offensively, he plays the tailback position. He can play what we call our wingback position, either one. And again, he's going to, with those two, Jonah and Tanner, they're going to get the brunt of the carries back there. We've got another kid who's versatile and can play a lot of spots. Again, is Logan Hall. He and his brother Luke, they play, both offense and defense for us, and they can play multiple positions and got a lot of experience last year. And then, up front, like we said, we got 4 of the 5 guys back, and we've got a couple of kids, a couple of seniors up front who can play guard or tackle. Josh Newsom's one of them. Braxton Tackett are 2 kids that are going to lead our offensive line. They're going to play guard, tackle, or wherever we need them to play. And they're also on a defensive front. They're going to be defensive line also. So we got 4 or 5 kids that you can plug and play, you might say, and that's really good. With the depth that we have is not great. And I mean, you look at any team in Eastern Kentucky, not a lot of depth there anyway. Even your really, really good football teams that can't afford to lose kids.
Yeah.
And so with that depth and with the ability to move people around, it really makes us be very, very versatile of what we can do.
Yeah, and I think you touched on something that, I think is very important. But a lot of fans may not realize, these small schools, the depth is crucial. You've had some really good teams in the past at Shelby Valley, Pike Central Research, where have you been? But 1 or 2 injuries make a huge difference. Just kind of talk about, developing that depth when you can. And, that's why it's so important to get as many players out on these rosters for, a Shelby Valley, these smaller schools. Just talk about that depth and, how you try to, you know, develop more depth whenever you can, because that's crucial, I believe.
Yeah, like right now, it's important for us to develop like depth and way I've done it in the past, and sometimes we start maybe the season we're a little bit behind, but right now, we're rotating kids and we're working with three, depth chart of three at a position right now. For example, in our backfield,
Mhm.
like we'll go with our reps today, and we're doing whatever we're running. If we're running our buck sweep drill, we've got three quarterbacks, three tailbacks, three fullbacks, and three wingbacks. Now, what that does now, it may cause us to be a little behind early, but uh, we hope that it'll pay off in the long run if someone goes down. You know,
Mhm.
uh, in the past, when I was a younger coach, I didn't understand that. And so what I do was with our first team guys, they would get, you know, 80% of the reps,
Mhm.
and then our second or third team guys would get, 20% or 10 and 10. And when someone went down, now that's a big jump. Whereas right now, and we'll get to where we figure it out, but right now, everybody's they're not getting 50-50, but our younger kids and our guys that are in that second and third group are getting a lot of quality reps. And as we get closer to the season, of course, that's when you decide, who's who and where they're at. It becomes more of a 70-30 thing.
Mhm.
But hopefully the reps that they put in the first couple of weeks of practice will carry over, and then they can step right in if someone gets hurt.
Also, your take on JV for some of these reps. A lot of parents sometimes, maybe even the players sometimes, don't understand why JV games are important, things like that. What's your take on that? Because I know reps are key. The more you do it, the more better. Just kind of talk about maybe sometimes you know why you would maybe play a kid who should be playing a lot on varsity might get some extra time on JV. Is it something like that, or do you just kind of view it as per just different players, different views, or I mean, because everybody's different with stuff like that.
Yeah, I like for kids to get as many game reps as possible. We've got, like I said, we've got a really big and a really good sophomore class.
Mhm.
They're a pretty talented bunch. So our dilemma now is, with the JV situation, we're probably going to start off the top of my head, maybe five sophomores.
Mhm.
Well, when it comes JV night, that's the dilemma you have, and
Mhm.
with a program that's not blessed in depth, you gotta be careful with that.
Yes.
But at the same time, I feel like that those sophomores need reps at the JV level, whether you're a varsity starter or not. And I did the same thing in basketball. If we had a kid who was a freshman or a sophomore who started basketball, I
Mhm.
played him a half in JV, and we'll look at that. And it's a game by game situation, I think, and it's also uh, with us who we play in varsity on Friday night
Mhm.
versus who we're playing JV on Monday. But I really like the idea of playing those kids as much as possible because you can only get better.
Mhm.
And so our JV kids, our sophomore kids, are going to play some JV and get as many reps and game reps as possible because you can practice all you want to and you can get those practice reps. It's nothing like playing in a game,
Yeah.
and that's why we need to get them to see as much game situations as possible.
Yeah, I would imagine, the biggest thing right now for your team is probably getting used to the offense. Probably a major change, last few years, they like to throw it. You like the wing. I mean, you don't, they're not saying you don't throw out of the wing. You have in the past, but you probably won't be throwing as much as here what they have the last few years. But, they had Russ Osborne, Brady Johnson. They had some really talented players who got a lot of reps. Just kind of talk about, the difference in offense right now.
Yeah, I would say that we're throwing with Hazard and Floyd Central, I think, tomorrow night. Then we got our own 7-on-7 on Friday. We'll probably throw it more those 2 games or whatever we get these 2 days than we will all year.
Mhm.
That's just and it's not the fact that I don't like to throw the football, but, a coach said a long time ago, when you throw the football, 3 things happen and 2 are bad. You
Mm.
throw it out of bounds, you incomplete, or they pick it off, and then the clock stops, and you gotta put your defense back out there. But, for me, my philosophy has always been I wanna throw it when I want to, not when I have to. And
Yes.
I think the best way to throw the football is to play action. If you're able to establish the run and get those guys creeping up from the secondary and having people get their eyes in the backfield, that's when you hit them with a home run ball. So that's kind of what our offense will be. We're going to run the football, try to establish the run, and throw when we want to, not when we have to.
Yeah, and that when you do that, you've gotta have that depth up front. You talked about it a little bit. Just talk about how big it is having 4 of those guys back when you know that's gonna be the base of your offense because everything starts up front, offense or defense. Just kind of talk about how important that is.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people, you want your quarterback back, and that's
Mhm.
important when you have your quarterback back. And you're always usually pretty good. You're ahead of where you're at the previous year. But when you get 4 out of your 5 linemen back, now you're talking about in a run-based offense, now you can do some things. And then we've been able, I think the offensive line is probably ahead of the rest of our groups right now because, of course, they played all year together with them last year. Uh, and so we're able to install, I guess you might say, our system a little bit quicker up front. We're still trying to find the fifth starter up there. We got a nice tight end who has really, Cam has really, Mead has really come through and has made himself a player in the weight room. And so he's our tight end. We feel real good about our offensive line
Mhm.
and the things they can do. And so we've been putting a few more things on them than we have our other offensive units. And so I think that, we'll lean on them early and lean on them a lot because they're the guys that's going to, get it done. And if we're going to be successful, then they're going to have to be really good, I think.
Yeah, and to run the ball, you guys have some good athletes back there too. Seems like you've got that as well. The guys run the ball, and you got more than one too. So that's always key in that system you play. Just talk about how big that is having multiple guys who have the ability to run the ball. I mean, I know 3, 4 off the top of my head that I could probably name that should be getting looks this year for you.
Yeah, I think that, Jonah, we'll start with him, and he's going to have the ball in his hands. I think he was, our second leading rusher. I'm not sure last year, but he had some big runs, and he has a certain skill set. So, we're going to try to use him and his skill set. He's a nice runner on the perimeter. Tanner Maynard is a big, strong kid, and he's going to be our tailback, and we're going to try to get him, in space. We got, Logan Hall, another good running back. Last year, I think he probably led us in touchdowns. I'm not sure, but
Mhm.
he's had a nose for the end zone and can get some stuff done between the tackles. We've got Paxton Lawson, another sophomore, Noah Hall, another sophomore that are going to see a lot of action this year. We've got Jackson Belcher, who I think is going to have a breakthrough season and one of the faster kids. So we've got some people back there, that's got some skill and our athletic ability, and we're just going to try to figure what's best for them, where we can put them in a situation, and that's your job as a coach to put them in the best situation
Mhm.
that has their skill set. And we're trying to do that right now with those kids. But we can play a couple deep back there, and so I feel real good about that. We just got to get them. Right now, the biggest thing is when you change offenses or you use a different philosophy. You play slower than you should. It's kind of paralysis by analysis,
Yeah.
and that's what we're doing right now. We're thinking too much instead of just playing. And
Mhm.
like I told him today, quit thinking. If you're going to mess up, let's just mess up going,
Mhm.
full speed, and we'll correct it later.
Yeah. Yeah, and just kinda talk about, schedule wise. I mean, I know last year you started off with that black and blue bowl. Tough game, great crowds. It was the different type of black and blue. But usually a exhibition, but not really what y'all wanted. It was a tough game. Kind of corrected that this year a little bit with scheduling. Then you go into Pike County Bowl. Just kind of talk about those first 2 games and how you kick those off. Because Pike County Bowl, if you have half the crowd you had last year at that black and blue bowl, you're gonna have a huge crowd. But then you go right into Pike County Bowl, another big crowd. So just talk about those 2 crowds to start the season.
Yeah, our black and blue bowl was literally black and blue for us. Uh, we came out of that black and blue, and but we played a nationally ranked football
Yes.
team.
Yes.
I don't know if there's been a more talented football team ever play at Shelby Valley. They were very
Yes.
talented, and their crowd was tremendous.
Mhm.
Uh, we had Johnson Central there. Their crowd,
Huge.
tremendous, huge crowd, and they're a national or they're a statewide power. Letcher Central brought a great crowd.
Mhm.
So it was a big time atmosphere, biggest crowd ever on Robinson Creek, there at Shelby Valley ever, I'm sure. Uh, so this year, we've got PRP coming in,
Mhm.
and that's not going to be any cakewalk. Anytime you're looking to play a 6A football team out of Louisville, they're going to be chock full of athletes. They're going to be fast. They're going to be physical. So it's going to be a tough football game. And then Johnson Central and Letcher's has got a rematch, and that's going to be a great opening night game for us. Then the Pike County Bowl. Years and years when I coached earlier, Pike County Bowl was our opening game. That was the kickoff to the season. Everybody looked forward to that, and I just love the Pike County Bowl. A great atmosphere. Kids kind of get on there with Twitter and all this other stuff and kind of go back and forth, and whoever you're playing, it becomes a little bit of a rivalry and stuff. And I'm really excited for our kids to be a part of that. And I'm that's one of the things that I missed when I was coaching basketball. We didn't have that. Bowl game, that thing, that kicks off the season, and in football, it's just the bowl, the bowl committee. You have your luncheon. It just gears you up and ready to go for the season. And we're looking forward to it. Like I said, with PRP, a former player of mine coaches there, Keith May. He played with me at. I coached him at Eastridge, and he's had a real good career, and he's done a really good job. I'm really proud of Keith, and so it's going to be a good game for us, and that first game's going to be great, and then lead right into the Pike County Bowl, and we're playing 2 bowl games right off the bat, and so you can't ask for nothing better than that.
Yeah, and once you get on into the season a little more, that district it's crazy now. I mean, it's always been tough, but now it's just next level. Just talk about getting ready for that because every game, whoever it's going to be, East Ridge is such a much improved team over the years under Coach Burdine. Pike Central's got a lot of talented players. Belfry's in there; they're always tough. I mean, it seems like there's no easy games there during the regular season once you get in district play.
No, I think that with our district, you got to say, Belfry's the favorite, and then 2 through 5 is, whoever's playing well that night, whoever's healthy. It could be any way. It wouldn't surprise me if any order after that. But like I said, Belfry is going to be Belfry, and they always are. And they're going to be physical. They're going to be fast. They're going to be well coached, and they're going to be the favorite coming into every game in the district.
Yeah.
Eastridge. Coach Burdine does a great job, and they run the single wing, and it's difficult to prepare for. They do a lot of shifting, and they're in there foot to foot, and it's there's a lot of carnage in there between the tackles, and a lot of people don't like to get in there with their nose in that. Pike Central's going to be, they've got just about everybody back. They got a talented group, a good quarterback, so. I look for them to be better than they were. And then, Betsy Lane, another talented quarterback, receiver, got a good running back down there, well coached again. So it's anybody can be 2 through 5, and anybody could be in that, out of that playoffs looking in. Last year it came down to percentage points between Pike Central and Eastridge, and I could very well see that happening again. So it's exciting, but the one thing you better be ready to go play, and that's one thing that we stress for our kids right now. We've been fortunate at Shelby Valley to be in the playoffs year after year after year after year, and that's not a given now. That's not something that you can take for granted. You got to go out and play and earn your spot, and I think that makes this district exciting, and people's going to look forward to seeing these matchups week after week after week, and I think there'll be a lot of scoreboard watching when you're playing someone in your district. Well, how did some other team do in the district after the game? So looking forward to it. Those are 4 extremely hard games. It's it's on our schedule, along with we've got Letcher Central again, Harlan County. So we've got a tough schedule to navigate. So we've got to get ready and get ready quick.
Yeah, I guess the last thing or last couple things maybe, just kind of talk about, we've touched on you coached at Valley in the past. It's been, I think you said 10 years now. Just kind of talk about, taking over when you first, got back into it. Was there any nostalgia there for you, or was it just getting back to work and getting back on focus? Because, sometimes you do want to look down memory lane and remember what you did and accomplish, but I know you want to get to work. So it was there a little bit of mix of that, or did you just get straight into it?
There was a mix. One of our coaches that's coached with me, Andrew Newsom, he played for me
Yes.
on the regional championship team. Really, really good player, and so I'm looking at him, and then I look over and Russ Osborne's on our staff, and Russ was our ball boy,
Yeah.
and Jordan Ratliff was our ball boy, and Adam was an 8th grader when I was there. Adam Johnson, our line coach. So, I'm looking at these guys, and I'm like, man, it's been a while, but at the same time, I'm someone that Randy. We want to go to work,
Yeah.
and so we'll sit around a little bit before practice or after practice and talk about things. But between the lines, we're trying to get stuff done, and they know, one of the things I think that's it's helpful is they kind of know how I am, and they know my style of coaching, and they know that we're going to be out there and we're going to get things done, and we're going to be on time. We're going to play hard. We got those non-negotiables, and so those guys that are helping me coach, they're all doing a great job right now. They know me through experience and playing for me. So it's a mixed bag, I guess, of memory lane, watching and knowing what those kids and when they were kids, and now they're grown men, and they're developing into coaches, and that kind of makes you feel good about yourself too, because you hopefully they see you as a coach and maybe want to emulate what you did, and stuff, and so early it was. I don't know. It was just different, but now I think we've settled in and season started, and we're just about business.
Yeah, and I guess the last thing, and this is kind of along the same lines, but sometimes when coaches leave, you see the foundation just kind of go away or build up. It seems like your all's foundation since you left has kind of stayed there. There's some been highs, some lows, but it seems like Shelby Valley's turned out pretty consistent over the years. Coming back, I mean, how does that make you feel knowing the guys that came after you, put the work in and they kept it kind of on that same playing field? That's got to be feel good too to see what Coach Hampton and Coach Johnson did after you.
Oh yeah, they were both on our staff, and Anthony was our D coordinator, and Tyler helped with our offense, and was spotter up top and helped call some plays and stuff. So they just took the reins and then went with it. And again, it's a testament to them and their work ethic. When you're at small schools or when you're at East Kentucky schools, you got to build your program around some things, and one of the things is weight room. And I thought they did a great job in the weight room, and that keeps you from injuries, and that also, the physicality that you need to be consistent. And they did that, did a great job with that, and it didn't slip at all. And the talent level was good, and what they did best of all is they took what they had and adapted it. If they could run the football, then you run the football. But if you have a guy, like Russ Osborne and some receivers and people, then you're going to spread it out and throw it a little bit more. And as a coach, and those guys were very good coaches, Tyler and Anthony both. They just took the talent around them and adapted to it, and that's what we're trying to do right now. We don't have the Brady, we don't have Russ and those guys, so we got to figure out what our guys do well and adapt to that, and just tailor our offense and our defenses around what they do best. And I think our coaches, have adapted. Russ likes to throw it all the time,
Yeah.
and then Andrew wants to run it all the time. So we've got to come up with a mix of what we do and do it, do it well. Our line coach, well, they want to run that football because they want to establish the run game. So we're going to, do a little bit of whatever we can do defensively that they give us, and just blend all of the things in. And it's really a good mix because, I'm a lot older than most of those guys, and so they can kind of keep me grounded in the new things of what goes on. Plus, they got a good intel of how kids are now. Kids, they change. You can't coach them what you did 10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I lean on those guys a little bit like that because every kid's different. And so we're having a good time. We're every day's a grind, and that's what we try to do, and just try to get better every day.
Yeah, I guess last thing, I mean, from now to kickoff, I mean, just what's the excitement, the build for these kids? I mean, as a coach, do you try to install that week one's coming fast, it's coming fast, and that's why we're doing all this work? I mean, just kind of talk about from the build from now to week one.
Yeah, we got after dead period, we came out and we went on a Friday. I think dead period was over with, and so we were supposed to go down to Prestonburg to throw. So we was going to put in our 7-on-7 offense, you might want to say, and it rained us out. It was that rainy time, but anyway, on that Monday, I said, look, guys, we got this many days before we scrimmage. We go to East Carter on the 7th of August, and we scrimmage Prestonburg and East Carter, and that's not going to be no picnic. Both those teams are going to be very, very good. And I said, here's where we're at. So we've got to be at this point next week. I told them today, I said, tomorrow we're going over to Hasbro. We're still going to practice. We got to get this in. We're behind on this. So, yeah, every day we try to give them a sense of urgency. and where we're at and how many days it is before we go for real. And, and slowly and surely they're kind of grasping that. And, I mean, they're 15, 16, 17-year-old kids. They are what, and so they don't understand the sense of urgency right now. But they will, and they're getting better at it. And we're practicing at a better pace. We did like Monday was all right. Tuesday was really, really good. Today, is one of them deals where it's hot and you had to fight to endure.
Yeah.
And so that's what we do. You take it every day. And what I try to tell them is I was like, look, you either get better or worse every day. You never stay the same.
Yeah.
And, and what our goal is, if we take one step forward today, let's not take one step back tomorrow. Let's take another step and try to get better each and every day. And they're kind of grasping that. And we're just, working hard every day and trying to get better. And that's all we can do.
Awesome, Coach. I appreciate it. For Corey Vest behind the scenes, Coach Eric Ratliff. Sorry, Coach, I butchered your name there at the end. I'm Randy White. Check out Unwired Appalachia. Coach Ratliff is our first of hopefully all the coaches. We want to talk to everybody. So Coach Ratliff's kicking it off. We want to see everybody else. If we haven't contacted you, we will be soon. So this is Unwired Appalachia. We'll see you next time. Check us out on our social medias. Thank you.